All right. So now let's jump into what Make a Tea Online has done in the local community and actually the national community for people. Starting your own t-shirt brand has and is still a big deal. Many people are kind of confused. They don't really understand how do you do this. They have an idea and they're like how many times you hear people say, "Oh, that you should put that on a t-shirt. You should put that on a t-shirt."
Yeah.
And then they have this idea to start their own brand and they're going to make millions of dollars and they're going to, be pushing, Kanye West out of the market. They're going to have their line and all of
And
these
in
all of
six
these
months, they will be retiring and living in the Bahamas.
Exactly, exactly. So that's what I thought. That's my goal. I'm trying to do that. But how do you even start that? I mean, people have an idea. I'm gonna tell a little story about one of our best affiliate stores, our best customer, Diego. Here's a gentleman. He came into our shop and he was totally confused. And he said, I just bought a heat press and I want to start a t-shirt line to go with my brand. Can you help me? And I remember Stephanie looking at him and saying, "You bought a heat press? Do you have stuff to heat press?" And he said, "What is that?" He didn't even know he didn't know what he was going to do with the heat press. He just knew from listening to YouTube that when you start a t-shirt brand, you buy a heat press.
Yeah.
And I think he bought a little one, like maybe it could fit like a pocket area, not even like a whole. He can't even press a whole shirt. So she was like, "I'm confused too. Like I don't know what you're talking about." And then he said he was a songwriter and he had this brand and he does these songs on TikTok and he's got a following and he's got a lot of expressions that he wanted to put out there. And so we're like, okay, first of all, return the heat press. Return the heat press because you need more than just a heat press to start a t-shirt. But at least he started with something. He did, he just didn't, at least he started with something. He had an idea, but it was very funny. And he returned the heat press. He said he got his money back, full refund on the heat press. So he had an idea and he actually had a following already and he had this TikTok channel and he was a songwriter. He's like a songwriter, kind of like a rapper kind of songwriter, and he gave us all of these slogans, and we built the store for him. And he posts every time he posts on TikTok, he gets orders for his brand because he celebrates plus size women and that's all you need to do is make somebody feel good in what they're doing, how they look, and they will gravitate towards that. It's a very positive message to put out there to make people feel good. And he has a lot of followers and they buy a lot of stuff. That's the way to make a brand work is to have something that is positive that the people are going to buy, not something that just you think or just you want to do. You have to think about who is your customer and the message that they will want to wear, that they want to present to the world.
So if somebody goes to you that doesn't have social media or have like 100 followers, just social media for their family, and says that I want to start a t-shirt, a t-shirt brand, how do I start? Because I see every time I see videos on YouTube that says like somebody like start your t-shirt line and get $1,000 daily or $10,000 a month, doing nothing from your home, just with ChatGPT and that's it. So, what's your advice? How somebody can start from scratch?
So I think what that is, it's really just baiting people to buy a heat press and transfers. And it gives them the feeling that they're going to make all this money. Well, it doesn't really work like that. You need to have a platform for sales, which means you need to have a store, you need to have a merchant account, you need to have the merchant account go to the bank account. So you need to do that type of legal stuff and have that back work before you actually start if you think you're actually going to make a sale. I know that there's cottage industry, so you can make like little sales and it's a little bit kind of more fluffed over as far as like getting your corporate name. People think you need an LLC. You can have a regular corporation, which is a little bit less expensive. You can, I guess you can have a cottage industry until you start to get sales, and then you can actually form the business. But I mean, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an accountant, but this is kind of what I see people doing. We kind of had to do that when we started Castor Avenue. We had we have to have the product, you have to have the website, you have to have the merchant, meaning taking the money, and you have to have product. So when I see a lot of people on Facebook that they buy t-shirts, blank t-shirts, and they have crickets at home, you know, the cricket where you make the designs and print things out in vinyl, and they buy from companies that kind of like that we buy from, not as but not as wholesale as we buy from. And you need a resale certificate. You need a in your state in Florida. It's a Florida resale certificate, so that you don't pay sales tax on what you buy because you're reselling it, and you're supposed to charge sales tax, and then that goes back to the state. So that's how like a legitimate business works. Now with our Deco Network stores, our store owners don't have to worry about that because we're taking the sales tax in and we're paying the sales tax. We are technically the store owners, and they are like, I guess, leasing space from us, for a better lack of a better word. So it actually gives
Okay.
them less liability and less responsibility, where we're taking on the responsibility through our Deco Network store. They don't have to worry about that. We have the merchant account, we have all of that stuff taken care of, and the website. So, and we have the ability to purchase the products at wholesale cost, and the
So
ability to.
if I go and I create a store, a website store on WordPress and with my merch from home that I do with my
Mhm.
Cricut, I have to do everything that you just mentioned for my business that
Legally.
I create. Yeah, legally. I'm talking about that legally. So
Mhm.
it's not that easy that just go create a website, put your products, and that's it.
Right, because how is
But
somebody
if
going to
we,
buy that?
but if you go to the Eco Network, you have all the legal stuff
Right,
done, and you
right,
can focus on marketing, just
exactly.
only on marketing.
So the store owners, like let's say like Lori, we have Moss Merch. Lori, we have Lori focuses on the store. I mean, she focuses on 9 million other things, of course, but she sends people to the store to buy shirts that has her logo on it. And we've actually had to take her logo and kind of make cute sayings and things like that that people want to wear. Not everybody wants to wear a shirt that says "Make Our School Safe." I mean, she wants everybody to wear that shirt, but not everybody wants to. They think it's cute to have. We did a "Be kind" of a thing. We just did the Moss Club in kind of a like a cutesy hippie kind of a look. It came out really, really adorable to make it, it's like something fun to wear, and people could put sayings on the shirts that are related to school safety, and she's done that, and those shirts tend to sell really well. So she markets that, and she gets the commission, which is what she's looking for, so she can have her donation money, and that's she doesn't have to worry about the legalities of the business. That's all on us. We take the credit card. We do the production. We buy the blank garments. And she just does her thing. She's not a t-shirt maker. We are the t-shirt make. We are the decorators. We're the printers. And so that
And you do
person.
the shipping also, and customer taking you customer I don't know how to say it. You take care of the customers from the website
Right,
calls
right,
and
right, right. Right, right. So, like with let's say, let me go back to Diego. So, Diego has a couple of really expensive items on his website. He has a like a bomber jacket and a well, it's like a varsity jacket. If we make a mistake on one jacket, that's like a $50 mistake. So, if he was doing that in his house with his heat press, and he made that $50 mistake, he's going to give up. Where we're probably not going to make the mistake, and if we do, oops for us, but it's not his responsibility. So when we order shirts, like if we get a run of, let's say somebody orders 1,000 shirts, a lot of those shirts could come in with like maybe a stain on it or a thread missing or something from the factory, from the warehouse, and that replacing that shirt is our responsibility, not their responsibility. And that's another level. That's another thing that happens too. Things come in, we could order a medium and it comes in for some reason in a small. That doesn't really happen a lot, but it has happened in the past. And I could just see somebody who really doesn't know ordering something from even going to Hobby Lobby or Michael's and buying blank shirts. And that shirt is going to cost them more than it costs us to buy. But if something happens to that shirt and they make a mistake, they've got to go buy it again, and they're paying sales tax when they go buy that. So that's another, 7%, 6%, wherever, 10% in some states, and that it adds up when you're buying when you're doing a lot of production. So I'm not saying that people don't do it. People do it all the time. And they may not do it on a large scale, they may do it on a small scale. But if you are, let's say, on YouTube searching for how do I start a t shirt brand, there's a lot more to it than the people on there who are trying to sell you transfers and heat presses and blank garments. When you buy transfers, you have to already know what that design is and where it's going to fit on a shirt. If somebody orders a X, a design can't be this small where it would be on a youth t-shirt. We have the ability to change the size of the design per the order.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm just saying that for start, the way to go is to print on demand with a software like Deco Network that take care of all the legal stuff that you need from scratch, and
Right.
and not go and buy a, I don't know, $700 heat press, $200 vinyl cut that a Cricut that this size, or thousands of dollars DTG printer. So don't start like that, and start with a print on demand and focus your capital and your money on marketing and building your community and get your brand out there. And
Right.
then if you go, you can have your big business with heat press, printers, and all the stuff. But
Sure.
I think the way to go is what you're saying. Just start with somebody that take care of everything that you need from scratch. Because at first you will have like one sale, maybe two
Exactly.
sales a week, and you don't have to go and buy like 100 t-shirt size XXL that you're never going to sell.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. When I started the business a long time ago, I was outsourcing our printing using the company that I was actually doing the graphic. They were giving me work to do graphic design for them. So I was doing the artwork for these T-shirts, and that was part of what I did when I started Type Styles. So I worked with trade shops doing their artwork that they needed for their customers, and
Right.
at the same time, I was just organically getting people that I know that, will you do this? Can you make me a 500 envelopes or 800 letterheads or whatever it is? Can you print me some T-shirts? Can you print me some sunglasses? And so because I was doing the artwork for the companies that did this, I would use them. And at one of the companies, the T-shirt company, the guy said to me, just start to buy your own T-shirts. you have your resale license, buy your own t-shirts. And I was kind of nervous about stepping out from outsourcing, like what people would do to start a t-shirt company, because I just didn't, just something that was outside of my wheelhouse. It would give me something else to do. He said, "You'll make more money. Bring me the shirts. You buy them where I buy them from. You can do it." And that's what I did. So I also started out like I'm telling other people, start out slowly, have somebody else do all of the work for you, and then if you get to the point where you want to do your own thing, you want to buy your own equipment, and start your, do your corporation, get your merchant account and all of that stuff. At that point, then you do that. You move in slowly.
Yeah,
Unless
yeah,
of course
I
you have,
think.
$1 million backer that's going to set you up.
Yeah, but I think that the way to go is slow and smart,
Hmm.
and not too much. Don't buy too much stuff. Just focus on marketing and try to outsource and do print on demand. I think that's the way to go. Anyways, if you
Yeah.
guys have a different opinion, just let us know down in the
Hmm.
comments, and or contact us if you want to start your own t-shirt store.
Right. I have a good question for anybody listening. What do you think it cost for equipment? That would be a really good question to ask the next person that asked about starting a t-shirt line. What do you think it cost for printing equipment? And I'd like to hear their answer because I know what it costs for printing equipment.
I don't know how, I don't know there. Here, it all depends on the kind of the type of equipment.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know, a heat press here, $700, like this, this big,
Like
this
a
my
15 by
chest.
15? Uh-huh, right.
Yeah, 15 by
Right.
15, my chest only. That
Did you
goes
say
to the chest.
$700?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. A good heat press. I mean, I know you can get a cheap.
I'm saying a cheap one from
Right.
China or
What is the
stuff like
cheap?
that.
Okay, okay. Well, you used to be able to get a cheap heat press here for, and I'm saying a cheap one for, let's say, $200. But
Yeah,
that $200 heat press is not going to heat evenly, and it's going to break in a year. I know
yeah,
because I've had many of them. And even when you treat them nicely, they still break. But it's mostly the heating element is not even, and that is a that is the worst thing for doing shirts when you're heating them, when you're working with a heat press on shirts. Not screen printing. Screen printing goes to a dryer, but when you're heat pressing print on demand, DTF or DTG, you have to dry the shirt. That heat element has got to be consistent on the whole platen of the heat press.
yeah.
You need like a heat press gun, and you have to check it every morning, make sure that the temperature is correct. Because if you have a lower temperature here and a higher temperature here, whatever the low temperature is not going to stay. That design will not stay. It will either come off, wash out, and yeah, it's really bad. You throw your shirt in the wash, and then your design is gone if it's not even. A good heat press is about between 2 and 3 thousand. Yeah, an okay heat press that does the job you could still get for about 1,000 here. That is a good heat press. That's going to be consistent, but you got to keep an eye on it. Not the top of the line, but you got to keep an eye on it. So you're better off
Yeah,
going
I
with.
think it's easy just to go print on demand and do marketing, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't have $1,000 buy a heat press and then figure it out where do I put it.
Right, right. Where do you put it? Right, right. Where do you put your heat press? Right. They're heavy. Those things are heavy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
It
should see
takes a
what
lot of
they
space.
move. Oh, yeah, well, because you need a 16 by 20. You can't really
Yeah,
run a business on a 15 by 15 heat press. So we have heat presses, we have hat presses, we have wraparound heat presses, we have ones that pull out. What I think is really cool are the heat presses where you do a shirt, here, and then you move it over. You just go like it's a
Right.
double heat press. Those are so cool. That's like the dream heat press, where you're just boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. You can knock them out, knock out the designs. So that's really, really, really cool. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you have your DTF machines, which,
No,
you know,
let's not talk about the prices on that.
yeah, yeah. Ink. The price of ink is crazy. The price of
Yeah.
film, yeah. So it's there's
Anyway, guys, just let us know what you think and what's your starting budget. What you think a $1,000 heat press is good to start, or just go
Mhm.
print on demand and just focus on marketing. Anyway, let us
Yeah.
know down below in the comments.
Let us know.